In late January 1959, 9 young hikers set out into the frozen wilderness of the Ural Mountains in the Soviet Union. They were students and graduates of the Ural Polytechnical Institute, full of life, laughter, and ambition. Their goal was Mount Otorten, a remote peak whose name in the local Mansi language is said to mean, "Don't go there." They documented their journey with cameras and diaries, smiling through the deep snow. None of them knew they were walking into one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century. None of them would ever come home. The group was led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, an experienced engineer and a meticulous planner. With him were Zinaida Kolmogorova, Lyudmila Dubinina, Alexander Kolevatov, Rustem Slobodin, Yuri Krivonishenko, Yuri Doroshenko, Nikolai Thibault Brignol, and Semyon Zolotaryov, a 37-year-old war veteran who joined at the last moment. These were not amateurs. Every one of them was certified for difficult winter expeditions. They knew the mountains. They knew the cold. They knew how to survive, and that is exactly what makes what happened next so deeply disturbing. When the group failed to send a planned telegram, search parties were dispatched. On February 26th, searchers found their tent on the slope of Kholat Syakhl, Dead Mountain. What they saw made no sense. The tent was half collapsed, buried in snow, and it had been cut open, not from the outside, from the inside. The hikers had sliced through their own shelter and fled into the polar night. Inside, everything remained: their boots, their warm coats, their food, their tools. Whatever drove them out, it came suddenly, and it was terrifying enough to make 9 experienced mountaineers abandon everything that kept them alive. The footprints told an impossible story. 8 or 9 sets of tracks led away from the tent down the slope. Some were made by bare feet, others by feet in only socks. In temperatures near -30°C, walking barefoot into deep snow means death within hours, and every one of them knew it. Yet the tracks were calm and orderly, not the scattered prints of a blind panic. They walked together, away from their only shelter, into the darkness of the forest below. What could possibly make experienced hikers choose the cold over their tent? That question has haunted investigators for over 60 years. The first bodies were found at the edge of the forest, beneath a towering cedar tree. Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko lay beside the remains of a small, desperate fire. They were dressed only in their underwear. The branches of the cedar were broken up to 5 meters high. Someone had climbed it, perhaps to watch the tent they had fled, or to watch something near it. Their hands bore burns and torn skin, evidence of a frantic struggle to stay warm and to climb. Further up the slope, searchers found Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin. They had died trying to crawl back to the tent. It took 2 more months to find the last 4. They lay in a ravine under 4 meters of snow, and their condition shocked even hardened investigators. Nikolai Thibault Brignol had a fractured skull. Lyudmila Dubinina and Semyon Zolotaryov had crushed chests, with multiple broken ribs, injuries one expert compared to the force of a car crash. Yet there were almost no external wounds, no cuts, no bruises to match the broken bones. Dubinina was missing her tongue and her eyes. Some of their clothing carried traces of radiation. The lead investigator wrote in the official file that the hikers died from a compelling natural force they were unable to overcome. The case was closed. The files were sealed. Over the decades, dozens of theories have tried to explain that night. A delayed slab avalanche, secret Soviet weapons tests, infrasound from a rare wind phenomenon capable of inducing blind panic, an attack by escaped prisoners, or by the indigenous Mansi people, both ruled out by the evidence. Even creatures unknown to science. In 2019, Russia reopened the case and blamed an avalanche. But the tent stood on a slope too shallow for one, and many injuries remain unexplained. 9 experienced hikers cut their way out of their own tent and walked into lethal cold. What did they see? What were they running from? 65 years later, Dyatlov Pass keeps its secret. If you want more unsolved cases like this one, subscribe. The next file is already open.